So if you're curious on how to get better live streaming quality out of your Canon M50, even potentially get a look like this, that's something I get a lot of questions on since I stream a lot here on Entre Woman TV. So if you want to know how to push the limits of your M50, get a setup just like this. I'm going to be talking about the exact tools that I use to live stream. I'm going to be talking about it coming up next. So when it comes to live streaming, I love using my Canon M50, and I just really regret anytime I have to use my Logitech C920 web camera or anything else. So when it comes to the M50, what I use is the M50 itself, and instead of using the kit lens, which I have used before to get better light and just like a little bit sharper image quality and all that, I use a Yongnuo 35mm lens, and I use that coupled with the Viltrox speed booster adapter for the M50. So that really does two things with that speed booster. It helps to bring in more light onto the sensor, you know, get better focal range when it comes to, you know, what the actual lens is supposed to do, like on a Canon 6D Mark II type thing. It can now pull some of those benefits of that lens that would be on a full frame camera and put it on the M50. And in addition to that, I'm able to what they would call like a focal reducing. So instead of it being like super close like it typically would be due to the crop factor and some other technical stuff, it helps it so I can be pretty close to it like I am right now. So that's the short end of it when it comes to that. But that's the camera lens, and the speed booster really helps pull in the image. And that's just sitting on an Amazon Basics tripod. And I have it marked for, you know, at different spots in my office because it's a small office, but I don't like to, you know, reset everything and try to figure out what should the camera be on and all of that. So that goes into what I call my RTE process, or my record to edit process. So if I want a shot like this, if I have my desk pushed all the way up against the wall, that'd be a different shot or a different look. And so the tripod would be at a different height and all that stuff. So I have all those different markings on my tripod, and this is probably like a $23 tripod, and I love it. I've been using it now for about 3 years straight. I've had zero issues with it. It's light enough that I can travel with it, but it's sturdy enough that I can take it outside. And even if the wind blows a little bit, I just sit my bag on the hook on the bottom and it works. So that's that as far as the camera lens and tripod. When it comes to unlimited power, you have to have unlimited power when it comes to the M50, because if you're just using the battery, you're going to maybe get about an hour and a half, an hour and 45. Anything beyond that, once you see that red light flashing, you're going to get nervous and you're screwed. But even if it goes out, you can swap the battery, and even like YouTube Studio will keep you going, but don't push it. I use the Capaxon third-party adapter, and I've done a video on that, so I'll link that up above as well if you want to check that out. And what that will do is basically let you plug into the wall, hook it into a dummy battery in the M50 at the bottom of the camera, and it works like a normal battery. And so instead of having to recharge and whatever, you can go as long as you want to. Just a quick tidbit on that: I have accidentally, like, I'll unplug the camera and everything thinking I'm done, and I will forget to actually turn the actual camera off. So the camera is on, and I've left it on for several days, and I've actually live streamed for up to 6 hours straight with this thing going, zero problems whatsoever. Even in a thunderstorm, which was on accident again, it still worked fine. So I've definitely put some hours on this little adapter, and it's working like a charm. Next thing that I use is just a regular USB cable that I hook in to use with my different softwares, and I'm using EcammLive and EcammLive as my software setup. I'll have to do a dedicated video specifically on that because it gets a little technical, but that's what I'm using. It's basically siphoning the image so I can still use like the autofocus, and so I can put my actual phone up there and still do that. But if I wanted to use something like the Cam-Link setup, that wouldn't work. So I like it with the USB option. There is a way to do that with the PC. Different video, different time. But on this particular setup, USB option, MacBook Pro specifically, and then EcammLive is what I'm using for the software. Next thing that has to be like more important than the image quality, honestly, is the microphone. Now, I've used two different microphones for almost 3 years now. I've had this ATR 2100 microphone. It's an XLR and USB microphone, and so is this one, but this one is by Samson, S-A-M-S-O-N, Samson, not like Samsung, but it's Samson Q2U. This is just a little doohickey that helps it to, if I hit the microphone, it won't make a lot of noise. So that's all it is. It's super cheap. I'll link that down below. It's like 12 bucks for this whole little thing. The microphone, the difference kind of like between these two, this one has a little bit of a deeper or richer audio tone to it, if you will. This one has a stronger pickup pattern. It's a little bit louder, essentially. That's the only difference. And you can kind of hear the difference from the same length. So let's do that. Okay, so everything being the same, this is the Audio-Technica ATR 2100 with me sitting the same distance. Microphone is pretty much parallel, and you would maybe have to come in to make it a little bit stronger, bring it closer to your mouth and eat the microphone, as they would say in the audio world, and get closer so you get that proximity effect, so it's a little bit of a deeper tone. But volume levels are still the same, but as you can tell, it is definitely a little bit of a different sound than what you get from the Samson mic. But these are the two microphones that I've used, and up until maybe a month or so ago, I've used this Audio-Technica ATR 2100, and it's worked like a gem. So other than using just some basic softbox lights that are about $60, I think, that I've done a video on, and I'll link that up above in the YouTube card up above, that's pretty much it. And since I have a second Canon M50, I can use this one for literally anything and leave this one set up here if I like. But if you want to check out the playlist on all of the different, individual reviews that I've done thus far on this products that I'm using, you can check that out right here. But otherwise, live with passion, guys. I'll see you in the next video.